and welcome back to the Reach In Talk Show with yours truly, none other than the Dr. Nicole Lynette. And we're here talking all things life and wellness. And today our show is going to be absolutely amazing. Why is it? Because we have a studio today full of energy, and energy from our amazing, ecstatic movers and shakers on Behind the Brand. This is the Gen Z edition. So sit back, relax, and ready to be amazed with our guest today. Okay, family, let's welcome today our first Gen Z guest, Mr. Darran Stevens. Yeah, these Gen Zers, he winking his eye and everything. I guess he letting y'all know he's single and ready to mingle. I don't know. So how you feeling today?
Man, I'm blessed. How about yourself, Auntie?
I'm pretty amazing and fantabulous.
That's what I love to hear.
Yes, sir. But as y'all didn't heard, I'm his auntie.
Certified.
But so Darran, so let's find out a little bit about you. What's the background? How old are you?
All right, cool. So yeah, I'm 22 years old, and like she said, my name is Darran Stevens. I am the owner of EpiLevel LLC. I am a foreign exchange trader, and I am a longshoreman at the Port of Houston. I have a lot of great things going on. You know,
Okay.
Got a lot of great ideas. You know, written down in the back storage. So everything so far is really just moving for me. You know, in God's plan, and I'm just trusting Him to lead me and guide me along the way.
Okay, well, before we get into all of that, so tell me, you're from Houston, right? What school did you graduate from?
Oh, it's definitely. I graduated from JY. You know,
Jack Yates. Those lions just ruling up in this reach in. yes. Reach on in and get some of that flavor. JY. No.
Right.
So you graduated from Jack Yates. Awesome. Now, how long have you been with the Port of Houston?
I've been at the Port of Houston now for 2 years, going on 3 years.
Okay, so what do you do there?
What I do, so one, I'm a walker foreman. For those that don't know what walker foreman is, I'm just the overseer, making sure that the job flows at a safe and consistent manner, making sure that the job get done, as well as I'm a truck driver. I get on the ship. It's a variety of different jobs out there, you know, from clerking to make sure that the containers are coming in order or put down in the right position. It's a lot.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So sound like you bossing.
Something like that.
Something like
that. I take it. I'm boss.
You're bossing. But you know, when you're bossing, that's a position of trust.
Absolutely.
That's a position of leadership, because in order for you to be a foreman, that means you're in leadership, and you said safety?
Right.
Safety is such an important role. So you're kind of entrusted with people's lives, like, you know, to make sure people are in a position where they're not hurt.
Right.
And I just think that's commendable, because you said, how old are you again?
22.
22 years of age.
Yes. I believe I'm the youngest walker foreman on the port.
You're the youngest?
I believe so.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a lot to be said right there. Wow. So if you're doing all of that, I mean, how did you end up in such a position of trust and leadership?
I can say I did dedicate myself for, you know, them 2 years to straight hard work. I can say that. You know, I spent a lot of times at the port. Like, I'm going to tell you and be honest with you, I probably spent most of the year at work, you know, showing my hard work, my dedication, you know, communicating with the proper people, you know what I'm saying, letting myself be seen, because, you know, every time you step out the doors of your home, you have a spotlight on you, you know, and when you have that spotlight on you, you have to make sure that you're operating in the spirit of integrity and operating on your principles, standards, and morals. Those are my 3 things that I really just stand by. My principles, standards, and morals. My first impression is my last impression. So when I leave the scene, I want my name, my image, and who I am to be thought of every single time.
Woo!
Yeah, that was a lot.
That was a lot right there. Whoa! Did y'all hear that? He said, I want my image to be the last thing people think of. And so basically you live your life to leave a positive and positive image of empowerment with people.
Absolutely.
That's what I got from that.
Absolutely. I want my energy, my positive, my light energy to rub off on you. So every time you think of me, or if every time you are just in, in a situation or in a mood or anything, I want you to be like, man, anything could be going on in his life right now, but he's still sharing that smile. So why can't I do that too?
Right. Wow.
Right.
So, in just thinking about, since we're on your values and all of that, I know I had a conversation with you not too long ago, and you were talking about how integrity means a lot to you.
Absolutely.
And I think I would love for you to share a little bit about that, because in our day and society today, it doesn't matter if you're a Gen Z, a millennial, a Gen X, a boomer.
Right.
Sometimes integrity is not something people lead with. So why is that such a value to you, and how does that impact those around you?
So I want to say integrity, if we want to use the word integrity, I have to put it in layman's terms for them people that don't understand. It's just being real, keeping it real. Integrity is keeping it real with yourself and with those around you. So integrity is, from my understanding of what I've been taught, integrity is doing the right thing whether somebody's looking or not. So that's basically your judgment upon yourself. And I walk around and people say, "Ah, man, I feel judged. You only feel judged when you're susceptible towards judgment. So you have to make sure you're operating in a valid form of integrity, so that you won't be like, man, I wonder if I did this right. I wonder if how they looking at me. Oh, are they worried about what I got going on? No, ain't nobody worried about what you got going on but you, because you only know what you're doing behind closed doors."
Wait. Okay, you said something that needs to be tweeted. You said you only feel judged when you know you're in a position or being susceptible towards judgment.
Right.
Because maybe, if I understood this correctly, you know you're not doing your best. You know you're not living up in your private life what you're presenting in public.
Right, absolutely.
So I think, oh, young man, 22, huh? There's some wisdom right there. So let's just kind of progress a little bit. So I know you've been in longshoremen, you have your company, Epi-Level LLC. What are the focuses of your company?
So Epi-Level is an acronym. It stands for Eternal Passive Income, Learning Educational Volition. The word volition means the power of free will and opportunity, evolving leaders. So Epi-Level, the Epi part, Eternal Passive Income, I want never-ending wealth. I want, it's like wealth forever. I want my income coming even after I'm gone, because it's not just a legacy that I want to leave for myself, but it's a legacy that I want to leave for my kids, down, all the way down, generational wealth. You know what I'm saying? And then, just to learn the educational volition, learning the power of your free will, and not succumbing to everything that's going on around us that they say we have to do. But we have our free rights, and God created us to be who we are.
Yes.
So why limit ourselves with what's going on around us?
Oh, wow.
Right.
Okay.
So that's volition, and then evolving leaders kind of explains itself. I want to teach you how to grow into a leader.
Okay. And as I didn't share that in the intro, but what I looked at when I began to hear your heart, your vision, and the level of the business vision that you have, and as a 22-year-old emerging leader, but you're not just an emerging leader, you are a leader. You're a sound, notable leader. Your job has recognized it. People around you have recognized it because you're an influence. Now, all of that has happened. So what drew you to the foreign exchange industry?
Man, that's beautiful. So what drew me to foreign exchange, I can say 2019, when, I don't know if we can't say it on here, but I know on a lot of different platforms you can't say COVID-19. You got to say something else.
Okay, but you didn't say it now. So.
Well, I didn't say it now, so during COVID.
Because it was a reality.
It was, right. So during that, there was a whole big thing popping up with network marketing groups and everything, and they called it Forex, you know what I'm saying? So every time, so now Forex have a negative connotation on it because they tie it together with the network marketing group. I've seen a friend that I went to school with, I seen him, he was sitting on this patio, smoking on a cigar. I'm like, man, all I know is bosses smoke on cigars. I text him, what you got going on?
Well, I know some other folks smoke on cigars too, but nevertheless, I get you.
Right. So, I seen that, and, And that's another way how imagery is a captivative, type of thing. I'm gonna think of the scenario later when I get it.
Okay.
But more so, I seen that, I was drawn to it. I was like, hey, what you got going on? And he told me he's in the foreign exchange markets, and that's when all the recruiting and this and that going on. I was most definitely intrigued by it because I started doing my research after I joined the team. And I'm like, man, there's a lot of money to be made out here in a matter of minutes. Time. Like, it's just really, you can make your check within the foreign exchange markets. You can make what you make at work sitting at home within 30 minutes.
So a lot of times in the MLMs, multi-level marketing,
Right.
opportunities, when you hear someone saying, hey, you need to come over here and try this opportunity because you can make all this money.
Absolutely.
So the question is, just for our listeners, because I think there's a form of deception, because I know in the Forex industry or the foreign trade industry, it's something you have to learn.
No, most definitely.
It's a process to it.
Most definitely.
And so with it being a process, what you just stated, because we remember imagery and the things that we hear are seeds, so we want to make sure that people understand that, yeah, you can make your check, but you might not make that overnight.
But you might not.
So in not making that overnight, and that's in any market, especially when it's, come on, it may not be an MLM, but it might be trying to grow your business.
Yeah, I want to make sure I'm clear with this, though.
I want you to be clear.
So Forex is not an MLM. Forex stands for foreign exchange markets. Foreign exchange been around for years. This is how our big banks keep money inside the bank. They take your capital and they trade it in the foreign exchange market to stay functional, to put it back in and, be able to operate in totality. What we have access to is being able to do exactly what the banks do, which is trade in the foreign exchange markets, right? And yes, it's a journey. Some grasp it faster than others, but from the understanding of a business model of, what I've been reading as well as, seeing all around, it's technically a 3 to 5 year journey with everything that you do. You know what I'm saying? It comes with consistency, persistency, and just adding value to yourself and to, how I want to say this, adding value to yourself as well as to what it is you're trying to build. Because if you just look at it and be like, oh man, you know what, this just not for me, you didn't even give it time.
Right. So that word right there, and thinking about this generation, Gen X, when you say you didn't give it time, and we live in what seems to be a microwavable instant society.
Right.
And in study and research, a lot of times Gen Zers and some millennials as well are more engaged with the experience than the actual possession of tangible things, of course, except for money.
Right.
So if you was to give a word of encouragement or shall I say some guidance, a wisdom to the younger generation, because time is very important.
Time is very important.
Because time has everything to do with process.
Right.
And a lot of times young people want it now.
Right.
So what was it that guided you to a place of patience to where you can actually allow time to have its perfect work so you won't be lacking and wanting anything?
That brings me to this scripture right here. I had to write it down because it meant a lot to me.
Okay.
But it's in James. I believe it's James 1:4. But let patience have her perfect work, that ye may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing.
Yes.
So when I read that, it's like having that microwavable mentality, right? Saying, okay, I desire this, I want this, I gotta get it, I gotta get it, I gotta get it, I gotta get it now. But patience is working towards something, not expecting an immediate result, but knowing that a result will come in the end. Come in the end with your consistency and persistency towards your goal or your intention.
Okay.
So developing that mindset, yes, I still have my moments to where, man, I've been putting all this time in. I mean, why can't it just happen to me? But then reverting back to saying, hey, everything has its moment. God operates in seasons. So since he operates in seasons, that means you got to have your uphill, you got to have your pause, your consolidation. Consolidation come from the forex terminology, but you got to have your pause moment. You're gonna have a fall, but if you could fall and lean on your back, if you could look up, you could get up. So don't you know? So don't you know what I'm saying? So don't just, hold your head down saying, man, why can't this happen? Why can't this happen? Nah, keep your chest out, head up, and just keep on pushing through the process. Okay. And that's my overall mentality, and I encourage everybody to have that too. Yes, some things may not work out, but that's for you to decide, am I putting myself in the best position to get what I'm looking for. For myself within the foreign exchange industry, yes, I've subscribed to some courses. Yes, I've reached out, and then that's also where environment play a big role as well, because now I'm starting to come in more contact with people that are thriving in the foreign exchange markets, because I'm hanging around them, knowing that they are being profitable. I'm not too far away from it.
Okay.
I've made some profits. I'm not gonna lie. I've made some profits too. Okay. So it's just like, I'm just not to that point to where, I'm just posting it everywhere about what I'm making.
Well, most wealthy people don't post their wealth.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's a good principle. And you start posting stuff like that, you start attracting the wrong kind of people.
Exactly.
But so we're talking about the glory and all the things you've done, and you've made some profit, and even with that, you're 22. And you purchased your first home.
Oh, yes, I did. In March. Last year, March. So this will be coming up, this year, actually. In like 3 days. Yeah, in 3 days, it'll be, a year of me actually living in my own home. Okay.
That's something to share.
Right.
And then it's amazing, because in the housing market, in real estate, we've been told here lately that it's really a seller's market. And so many millennials, especially, are like, we're not fit to buy a home. We're going to our parents. It's too much going on.
Right.
But here you are, 22. You purchased your new home. You've been in there a year. And you're planning to build and progress and grow. And to me, that says a lot to me about your tenacity. And then also your vision, that you don't allow circumstances around you to limit you, but you create your own circumstances.
Absolutely.
And so I just think that's something to be amazed about and commended. Now, we're talking about all the great things. Now, as a young man, a young African-American man, you're not that far from high school. You're 22.
Yeah.
What have been some of your challenges, just say from being a young man and how you've evolved into where you are today? What were some of your challenges you've had to deal with internally, externally, and from there to where you are right now? Where's your mindset? What's the difference? What's the contrast?
So I can say, growing up, I did have a little anger. Anger was a big thing for me. I didn't. As I'm speaking now, I wasn't this type of verbalist growing up. So, and I always knew, school wasn't, I'm not encouraging nobody to not go to school, but you have to know what's meant for you. You know what I'm saying? You have to know what's for you. I knew going to school wasn't my thing overall, but I know socializing with people and connecting with individuals was my strong suit, because I know that connections will get you far in life. It's not, it's another, thing said, it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. Even, being connected to my auntie, this my auntie, so I know I'm plugged in for life. You know what I'm saying? So it's like she has many blessings that she could pour onto me, and that's being resourceful. You have to have your resources. So anger was a thing for me, but I had to learn how to communicate adequately and properly so that I'll be able to maintain my peace and my calmness in an escalated situation. Because I know that, hey, look, I forgive you, I understand you're frustrated. How can we come to a definite mend so that we can still operate together? So having that mindset and mentality, I began to grow and expand myself, and reading different books and studying how to communicate, because communication is key in everything that you do.
Communication rules the nation.
Right. Yes. So as well as another adversity that I've been through, we did, my parents, we did end up losing our house, having to go stay with my grandmother and everything, and that's, something that people will allow, I want to say people, but sometimes people look at that as an adversity that will hold you back and set you back. You know, I really want to commend my little sister, because even throughout that little, you know, that little situation, she still excelled through school. You know,
Yes.
now on a full ride, you know, scholarship to Xavier, and you know, she's doing her thing. I'm like extremely astonished and proud of that, because people will look at that situation of being, you know, removed out of your old home, having to go stay with a grandmother, you know what I'm saying? And this whole situation, I know the behind the scenes of what happened there. So the whole situation of whatever was going on, you know what I'm saying, for her to still excel at the highest level, you know, graduating JK as well, you know, the salutatorian,
Yes.
you know what I'm saying? It's as powerful. You can't allow adversity and certain things to hold you back, you know, moving forward, you know, to where I began to excel and grow is when, you know, I was working at Papacitos. I ended up getting fired because of my attitude. You know, I'm gonna be honest. You know, and then, you know, I was at a crossroad where, you know, I didn't have a job. I know I wanted to get me a car. I'm 19 years old. I'm like, man, like what do I gotta do? What I gotta do? You know, by the blessings of God, you know, He set me up in a position to start working, you know, out there at the Port of Houston. And when that happened, you know, I just started spending countless days. I removed myself. I wasn't going out. I wasn't doing this. You know, I had a definite major purpose and a focus on obtaining a car. Once I got my car, I ended up wrecking that car. I went to my little cousin's football game. You know, I knew I had to be at work, but I wanted to go there and support. You know, I love my family. I do anything for my family. So, you know, speeding, raining, boom, hit. I know my mom and my pops, you know what I'm saying, they stayed, you know, too far. They wasn't going to be able to give me, take me to work back and forth.
Right.
You know, so I made the conscious decision on my own sacrifice, and I slept in my car for like 4 months. You know what I'm saying? Until I was able to go ahead and purchase me another car. And then that year after that, with the same consistency, I was able to purchase me a home.
See, doing what's required, placing yourself in a position of doing what you need to do to position yourself to do what you want to do.
Absolutely.
And I think your story is actually empowering and inspirational. And actually, your story can really encourage anyone of any generation. And so with that being said, thank you so much for joining us today. And if you're looking to contact Mr. Stevens, you can actually visit our website, and his information will be there for you to contact him. Darran, you're an amazing young man. Stay focused, keep doing what you're doing.
Absolutely.
And I know you're gonna as your pawpaw say, if you shoot for the stars, you might miss it, but you'll land on the moon. So you keep shooting. And thank you so much for being with us today.
Absolutely, Auntie.
Of course. Talk show, where we are talking all things life and wellness. And I am your host, Dr. Nicole Lynette. And today's focus is Behind the Brand, the Gen Z edition. And our next guest, this young lady, she's pretty, she's perky, and she's definitely purpose-driven. Let's give it up for Miss Fawn. So how are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm so excited to be here. When you had reached out to me about joining the show, I was like, yes, immediately yes. So I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yes, girl, I'm so glad you're here because number one, we thought we weren't gonna have you at first,
I know.
but see how things work out.
Look at God.
It's called divine purpose, right? So fun. Tell us a little bit about yourself. How old are you? What's your marital status? You know, some brothers might be peeping. You know, your future. No, just saying. You know, where did you grow up here? Just tell us a little bit backdrop about you.
All right, so my name is Fawn. I'm 25 years old. I grew up really all around the States. My dad was a Marine.
Okay.
So I grew up moving
Okay,
everywhere.
okay.
So I technically say I'm from D.C., that's where I was born, but I went to college in Kentucky. That's where I really was raised. So I kind of
Okay.
say I'm from Kentucky sometimes, and then recently moved out here to Houston about a couple years ago during the pandemic. So,
Okay.
yes.
Wow. The pandemic helped transition a lot of people into
Yes.
some new spaces and graces.
Definitely.
And it has worked out for a lot of people, I've heard.
Yes.
So where it had its cons, it's had a lot of pros as well.
For sure.
So, and you have a 5-year-old.
I do.
A
I have
precious
a 5-year-old
baby.
daughter.
Yes.
She's my everything, my heart, Leilani.
Leilani.
Yes.
Oh, that is beautiful.
Thank you.
Leilani.
Yes.
Oh my God, that is beautiful. That
Thank
is beautiful.
you.
That is beautiful. So, I was reading your bio.
Mm-hmm.
Girl, you done done some things.
Ooh, I have.
You
I've
have
been
done.
around.
You 25. Woo, you have
Yes.
done some things. Talking about what I said, you're gorgeous. You're a gorgeous young woman. And every time I see you, you have that same smile, that same personality,
Yes.
and it's contagious.
Thank you.
You make me act all goofy, like whenever you
Yes.
be like, "Hey, I'm like, hey, girl."
Yes, I love it. Every time I see you on Sunday, I'm like, oh my gosh, hey! We're so loud and just.
Yes, we are just loud, right? Loud and
Yes.
proud, you know, living out loud, you
Yes,
know.
yes.
And I think that's something that as women, because you're young enough to be my daughter, and actually you're younger than my daughter, but it's amazing how our personalities are similar, but we're in two completely different generations. So that means that there is no particular personality that's actually affixed to a certain age group, right?
Agreed,
It's
yeah.
all about who you are and your love and your heart and where you are in your mindset. Excuse me. So I appreciate you. I
you.
appreciate
Thank
your
you.
bubbly personality. I appreciate your joy. I appreciate the fact that you have enough confidence that you don't mind living out
Yes,
loud and
yes.
being who you are.
Thank you so much. It wasn't always like that. I wasn't always this confident and bubbly. I really had to walk into my purpose to become the person I am, because I used to be very shy. I used to be very insecure.
Okay.
Not knowing who I was, not knowing my true identity. So I wasn't
Okay.
always like this.
Well, we're going to
but-
talk about that in a moment. But let's talk about some of your accomplishments. So, first of all, the name of your business is Pretty in Purpose
Yes,
Brand.
Pretty in Purpose, yes.
Pretty in Purpose Brand. Okay, so how long have you been in business?
So I started business in 2020 during the pandemic, so about 3 years now.
Okay.
And I had graduated in 2019 during the pandemic. So when I
Okay.
had graduated, nobody was hiring.
Right.
Like, you could not get a job. I graduated with a broadcast journalism degree, so you
Okay.
could not get a job anywhere.
Wow.
And so I was like, Lord, what am I going to do? Like, what am I going to do? I had no job. I was working at a bar, and so I was like,
Right.
Lord, like, show me my purpose. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just working this dead-end job. Like, what is it that you want me to do? And he gave me a dream, gave me a vision
Okay.
of me coaching women and helping
Okay.
them find their purpose. And so I called it Pretty in Purpose because I believe that women are beautiful when they're
Yes.
doing what God has called them to do.
Yes.
That's when you truly are who you're meant to be. And so that's why I call it Pretty in Purpose.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that is amazing.
Thank you.
Okay. So, Pretty in Purpose, you had a dream, but you said you asked God
Yes.
to reveal to you your purpose.
Yes, absolutely.
So, sounds like you can be working in a field and you can have a bunch of skills, but still not living on purpose and
Exactly.
in purpose.
Exactly.
And so I know for myself, a lot of things in life, you know, I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit. And, you know, the generations prior to me believed in you work for a good company, you get a good education, you go to school, college, graduate, get a great job, work on that job for 40 years, and, then retire.
Yeah, yeah.
Some kind of way that missed me. I could never just work on a job forever. And that was shunned upon, right? But there was vision in my life. And I've always been a visionary. And I've always felt like I can boss my own lane. I boss my own self. So I didn't like being contained in a box. Not saying that you shouldn't work for someone, because when you work for someone, you can build skill sets. You can have what I call it, you can obtain building components that can help you, business principles and things of that nature to help you do what it is you desire to do.
Yes.
And so when I hear you say you was working at a bar and you was like, God, I almost felt like you wasn't being fulfilled.
I wasn't at all. I was not fulfilled at all. And I think that's the thing that people don't really get. Like, you can be quote unquote successful, what the world calls success, but not be successful in God's eyes. And so when you're not really walking in your purpose and you're running after money, you're running after fame, success, that stuff won't fulfill you. It really won't. It's only when you truly do what it is that God has called you to do here on this earth. That's when you become fulfilled. And so, I mean, don't get me wrong, I had fun bartending, but it wasn't, like you said, it wasn't fulfilling at all. And I knew I had a higher calling. I knew I had a higher purpose. And so I wanted to find that.
And I think that's so important, especially in our society today, because, and I'm going to just say, my family had all these dreams for me, right? Yeah. They, till this day, everyone say I missed my calling. I should have been an attorney. Wow. I think I'm doing pretty good. What do y'all think? I think I'm doing pretty good. Because my heart has always been, and they didn't exactly miss it. Maybe not an attorney, but I've always been an advocate for others. I believe in empowering others, and I love exposing others. So I didn't exactly miss my calling. It just wasn't in the vehicle by which they thought I should have been traveling, basically. And that's why it's so important, like you did. You begin to ask the one who created you, what is it exactly, and how am I supposed to be functioning? What is my identity? What is my purpose? What am I supposed to be doing? Because and I think this is important too, to understand, just some backdrop on what you said. You can have all the skill sets in the world. You can be having all the fun. But if you're not fulfilled, you're going to start trying to find that in different places. There are people to this day that have, there's the question, oh my God, they were so wealthy. I thought they were doing good. Then they commit suicide.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Or they become drug addicts, or because we keep trying to find that area of fulfillment. And the fulfillment is not external. It's internal.
Absolutely.
And so, like you said, running after the money. You can chase money all day long, but don't make me start preaching, because y'all know I'm a preacher too, right? It says that your blessing is supposed to be chasing you. You're not supposed to be chasing it.
Yeah.
And so, and that's a whole nother talk set. But
I want to also say, like, you can tell you're on the right path when you have peace.
Yes.
In your walk, when you have peace. Like, you can have, like you said, people have money. All these famous people who have money, success, fame, fans, they're committing suicide.
Yeah.
And it's because they don't have peace. So you can have all those other things, but if you don't have peace, that just shows you're not on the right walk and you're not on the right calling.
And peace is priceless.
Yes. Absolutely.
Because with peace, you can sleep in the midst of any storm or situation or circumstance that you find yourself in.
Yes.
And people begin to look at you like, why? I'm having anxiety. Why are you not having anxiety? It's happening to you.
Yeah.
Because of peace. I'm where I'm supposed to be. Now, it may not always feel good externally, but I can still sleep at night because I know that I'm in the right path. And of course, our pastor says, when your dream is not a scheme, when you're doing stuff for people.
Yes.
And I think that is very valuable, because we were created to actually impart and to serve others.
Yes.
So whatever we do, we need to find ourselves serving others.
Absolutely.
And just listening and going to some of your accomplishments, you have an online coaching business.
Yes.
And so what is the purpose of your online coaching business?
Yes, so I do have an online coaching business. It's called Pretty in Purpose, and I coach women and help them strengthen their relationship with God, find their identity, strengthen their mindset, and just find their calling, find their true God-given purpose, and just to walk in that with confidence.
So basically, you did it first.
Yes.
So
Yes.
now, again, you're serving women and imparting to them what has been imparted to you.
Absolutely.
That is powerful.
Yes.
So not only do you have an online coaching business, Pretty in Purpose, y'all, Pretty in
Yes.
Purpose. You worked for CBS News
I
at the
did.
Capitol.
I did.
Share a little bit about that.
So I was in college, and I'm from DC, like I said. So I spent the summer in DC, and I got to work at CBS News in the Capitol. Got to work with Nora O'Donnell,
Okay.
Gail King, just so many amazing trailblazing women within the journalism industry, because that's what my broadcast journalism, that's what my degree is.
Right.
And so that was just amazing, just being in the hub of the country, you know, and just working on stories, telling people's stories, sharing
Yes.
these amazing, beautiful stories of people. So that's what I'm really passionate about. I love telling stories.
Okay, telling
Yes.
stories. And then you have the SEC Network.
Yes, I did that too. I do everything. I like to say I'm a woman like of many hats. I wear so many hats.
Okay.
I love sports, so I was really, really big into sports broadcasts. And so I work with SEC Network, ESPN News. So if you know anything about college basketball, you know that University of Kentucky, we're like a top school. So that's why I went to University. Don't give me that face.
Whatever. U of H representing.
No,
Yeah.
UK all day. But I that's why I wanted to go there, so I could work with a whole bunch of like sports legends. I got to work closely with Coach Cal,
Okay.
and you know he builds up these players to work in the NBA. So it was just amazing. Met so
Wow.
many amazing individuals and sports legends, and so it was such a beautiful experience.
Okay. So your life, you just seem like a person of service, and you
Yes,
enjoy
yes.
what you do, and that's what I love about when we step into purpose. We literally enjoy what we do,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
And so you currently are the marketing lead at your church.
Yes.
Okay.
Shout out Higher Dimension
Yes,
Church.
HD. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm the marketing lead, so I pretty much do everything that consists of marketing. So photography, videography, email, podcasts, mini stories, merch. I could list a whole bunch of things, but I'll run out of breath.
Right.
But really, like serving at the church, and I will say this for anybody and anything, when you serve, that is really when God will perfect your gifts, and He'll really show you what you're passionate about, and He'll really show you like what you're meant to be doing. And so when I started serving at the church, I really found out like, wow, I love what I'm doing. Like, I'm so passionate about marketing. I'm so passionate about telling stories. I'm passionate about helping people grow. So that's why I do marketing, and that's also why I do my online coaching, because I love helping people grow. And so, yeah, it's amazing. I love serving at the church. I love serving God, and I love serving His people.
Awesome. So in loving to help people grow, that means you've grown.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I want to take a moment and let's just talk about, we've kind of talked about a lot of the glory. I want to hear a little bit more about your backdrop and your story.
Okay.
What are some of your growing pains? What are some of the challenges that you faced on your journey
Yes.
to where you are today?
So our pastor has this saying. He says, "You're called to help who you used to be." And so who I used to be, the person that I used to be, is nothing like who I am right now. So I've dealt with a lot. I was lost. I was living in the world. I dealt with depression. I dealt with multiple suicide attempts. Just because I was lost, I didn't know who I was. I had no sense of purpose. I had no joy. I had no peace. I was really far off from God. And so I struggled with a lot. I struggled with insecurities. I struggled with imposter syndrome. I just struggled with knowing my identity and knowing who I was and knowing who I was called to be. And so in that, I dealt with people pleasing and all sorts of stuff that just really tore down my identity and really made me really, really lost. And
So on that, let's scale that back.
Yeah.
Imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Let's talk about imposter syndrome
Oof.
for the audience, for the listeners. What is imposter syndrome?
So imposter syndrome is really when you just don't know who you are and you don't know the gift that God has placed inside of you. So you can be doing the thing that you're called to be doing and just not know. You just have like this voice in your head like, I'm not any good at this. I suck at this. This is not what I'm meant to be doing. Why did God call me to do this? Like, I'm not supposed to be here. I'm not supposed to be doing this. Who am I? I have no voice. Like, it's really just a voice in your head telling you all these things that are not true. Because they're not aligned with what God says about you. So it's really not true.
So basically, you're operating in purpose without realizing or having the confidence that you're operating in purpose.
Exactly.
And some of that could come from, our show is Reach In, because when I received the vision, it was about a lot of things are not always what they seem. A lot of times we judge things and we categorize things according to what we think, and a lot of things are surface. Yeah. But if we look a little closer and we begin to kind of peel back layers, and the reason why I bring that up, because I realize, and according to statistics and research, a lot of our world has been traumatized. And because of trauma, a lot of trauma in our childhood, things growing up, somebody told you weren't good enough, or you felt like as a child you weren't good enough. You didn't measure up. You didn't know who you were because you were so busy trying to please everybody. You never come to a place of pleasing you. And then you knew who God was from a distance, but you really didn't have him for yourself, what they told you. And so a lot of us, girl, I suffer from imposter syndrome too. I've been speaking all my life. I've always been the leader. As a matter of fact, I didn't like my name.
Wow.
My name is Nicole with 2 L's. I said, blame my daddy. God told him what to do. But those 2 L's stand for leading lady.
Wow.
Because I'm a leading lady, right?
Yeah.
But it was that I despised. I rejected. I didn't want anyone to call me Nicole. And one day, an older lady came to me. She said, baby, do you know what your name means? And I said, no, I didn't know what my name meant. And I still didn't go look it up. She told me to go look it up, but I didn't look it up right away. But then when I looked up my name means people of victory.
Wow.
And in some definitions, they have victory of the people. It means leader. All of this. And just to imagine, I was automatic. Everybody that knows me, if something went wrong, they came and told me to, you go for it. Everywhere when I was in school, I excelled. Everywhere I went, I always excelled. I was the leader of something. At the church, I started leading when I was a little girl. But that was something that was happening, but I didn't recognize it. And a lot of times, talking to our listeners, a lot of times there are things that you are automatically doing. And, I say this, listen to the people around you. I know a lot of people say, don't listen. No, listen. Especially to those who's throwing shade, especially to the haters. When they are saying things about you, they make it sound like it's negative, but really they see in you what you have not seen in yourself. They see the value in you that you have not yet recognized within yourself. So if you want to know who you are, listen to your enemies.
Absolutely.
And if it's negative, just flip it around to positive. When people say, who do you think you are? I know that you are somebody.
I am somebody.
You are somebody.
God,
because why are they asking you, who do you think you are? Well, you need to flip that. Wait a minute. Since you bringing that kind of shade, who do you think I am? You know? And as I was growing, I didn't understand that concept. So I know I had some serious imposter syndrome. I've been leading all my life.
Wow.
And somebody said, I heard someone say, leaders are not born, they are developed. I don't agree with that. I believe there are some leaders that are born,
definitely.
And they have to how they handle leadership. I believe that has to be developed and matured.
Agreed.
Because I've been leading all my life, but I also, while I was leading others, I had to learn to lead my own self.
Yes,
I had to learn to lead myself. So with you being the woman that you are. I know just finding out you're a Gen Z, I know that's just been crushing.
Yes,
but
it's been very crushing. Up until this day, I thought I was a millennial. So here I am, Gen Z.
And you know what? You bossing.
Thank you.
Yes, you are. You are bossing and flossing. Look at you glowing on the camera. Look at you glowing, girl. Look at you glowing, girl. Helping other women to grow.
Yes.
And you are such a phenomenal example because young women need to see young women like you.
Yes.
Because
absolutely.
in our society, I think it's a travesty for people to expect out of young people what they're not willing to invest in them. And for you to take the time to give back and impart to women, it doesn't matter what age group, but to impart into women what has been imparted to you, and to help women to grow beyond what you have grown through. That is the mark of a remarkable leader.
Thank you.
That's a mark of a remarkable leader. And so the brokenness that you've had, now that you're a whole young woman, so I don't know who the brother is that's looking. You're going to have to be whole, bro. You're going to have to be whole. Okay?
Yes, no,
because
absolutely.
Betty Wright lied. Talking about having a piece of man is better than having no man at all.
Oh, no, I really have no man at all.
The only woman that wants a piece of man is a piece of woman.
Yes.
But Fawn is a whole woman.
A whole woman.
At the age of 25.
Yes.
But Fawn, I'm going to give you, we're getting ready to close the show.
Okay.
And I really appreciate it.
Aw,
We're going to have to have
so much
you back.
fun. Yeah.
We're going to have to have you back,
Do we have to close?
well, yeah, you know, the time, my money, not going to let it go too much further. So, but if you had a word, just one word of encouragement to give to young women, just women, period, out there, what would that be? I would love for you to share that to our audience.
So if I had to give one piece of advice to women out there, I would say that you are somebody, like we've just been saying this whole entire time. You are somebody, and God has called you to be somebody, and someone out there needs what you have to offer. So no matter what insecurities you have, no matter what the enemy is trying to tell you, no matter what he's whispering in your mind, know that God has called you and God has formed you in your mother's womb, and he already knows your gifts. He already knows your passions, your talents, and he's made you to be who you are. And so I would just say, find what it is that God has called you to do and walk in that, and you will always have peace, and he will always give you what you need.
Hey everyone, we're so sorry. That's our show for today. Let's give it up for Fawn again. You'll be able to find her contact information on our website. So make sure you go to the website. And again, this is Reach In Talk Show, where we're talking all things life and wellness. And I am your host, Dr. Nicole Lynette. Until next time, keep reaching in.